Hello, 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 and welcome to the Leen Show, episode 27 of the Leen Show. And folks at home might be saying, Lee, you look a little tired. We were all in Slumber City and everyone there knew you. And it's true, I woke up about 45 minutes ago. But that's what caffeine's for. That's what, stimulants are for. And I'm here today. My mind's sharp. My mind's right. Regardless of the sleep I did or did not get last night, and regardless of the work I may or may not have to do right after this, but I'm here and I'm ready to go, And if that's not great, I don't know what is.
Hell yeah. Love that for you, man.
They say podcasting's like an easy job. They say anyone can do it. They say all you have to do is go on Amazon and buy a Yeti microphone and a computer and just speak into it. And I say false. It is much harder than that.
Agreed.
There's real blood, sweat, and tears being put into this episode.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, we're here today. It's going to be a great episode. Kathleen, before we get into the news of the week, and hopefully some laughs and maybe some cries, how was your week?
My week was good. Me and Sam did like a late Valentine's Day celebration because Valentine's Day was on a Wednesday this week. And who wants to go out and party on a Wednesday when you have work the next day? So we went to this really nice restaurant on Friday. It was like an Australian, hybrid New Orleans restaurant. That's the way that the waitress explained it to us. But me and Sam, we're not really fine. I wouldn't say that we typically do a lot of fine dining. I would consider myself a foodie, but I don't like to go out and drop, $200, $300 on a meal. That's not me. But Sam treated me to a very nice dinner on Friday, and it was the full white glove service where they pour your wine for you, and you take a sip of water, and then they refill it, and then you take another sip of water, and then they refill it, and you get your crumbs all over the place, and they take that cool little tool and they swipe your crumbs away. And it wasn't a Michelin star restaurant, but it was same sort of vibes where the timing was perfect. You get your appetizers and you get your drinks and you get your course comes out at the perfect amount of time. And like I said, we don't do that often, but when we do, we do the full thing. So we got a bottle of wine, we did appetizers, we did a meal, and then we did a dessert. I don't know if you saw some of it on my Instagram story, but the dessert we got was apparently one of the most famous desserts in Georgia. It was Cracker Jack popcorn sundae. So it was the ice cream was kind of reminded me of butter pecan, however you say it, from wherever region you're from. Kind of reminded me of butter pecan ice cream. And then it had Cracker Jacks in it, Cracker Jacks and peanuts, and it was freaking good. We got drunk off the wine, and it was fun. So, did that Friday. Yesterday, hung out, had some beers. We've been binge watching Jersey Shore, so that's been really fun. I know you were telling me before we started recording that you had a weird dream last night. I had a Jersey Shore themed dream last night that Mike Sorrentino, Mike the Situation, aka the Situation, was trying to get it in with me, as he likes to say, and I was terrified. It was a nightmare. It wasn't a fun Jersey Shore themed dream, but man, thank you to my man Sam saved me in the dream from Mike the Situation. So, but it's kind of I literally woke up in the middle of the night hyperventilating. It was a scary, it wasn't a cool Jersey Shore themed dream. It was a Jersey Shore nightmare. So moral of the story, we probably need to stop binge watching an entire season a day we've been doing. Yesterday we literally watched 10 episodes of season 3. And they're infiltrating my dreams, which you'd think would be cool, but it wasn't. It was a nightmare.
No, I wouldn't mind Snooki in my dreams. I wouldn't mind
Snickers.
I wouldn't mind what's her name? Jenny, the other one?
JWoww.
JWoww. I wouldn't mind JWoww in my dreams. JWoww is a good time. Mike the Situation though, not quite. I don't know. That's not one I would invite. That's not one I'd give the password to get into my dreams, personally. I guess you don't really make that decision. You didn't
No,
really
you don't.
consent to Mike the situation being in your dreams.
That's the thing about dreams. There's no consent. So you literally have no control over what's going to happen to you in that dream, unless you're like a lucid dreamer or whatever and you actually do have control. But unfortunately, I've never had a lucid dream. My dreams happen to me. I don't control them. And I mean, it's been weeks now where I've just had vivid dreams. We don't know if it's like, we take like magnesium glycinate, which people say is supposed to be like an anti-anxiety vitamin that kind of helps you sleep. And I don't know, we think it might be causing us to have like a bunch of vivid dreams. Me and Sam have both been dreaming a lot lately. I'm over it. Like, please give me one dreamless night. Like, that's all I ask for. Drinking doesn't help. Not drinking doesn't help. Exercising doesn't help. Like, I've been having some stupid, crazy dreams lately.
Wow. Well, you know, technically that is impossible to have a dreamless sleep, but that is the goal for you, I guess. And I'm not saying you can't achieve that goal. I'm just, usually it is pretty difficult to not dream while you're sleeping, because again, like you said, you can't really control it necessarily.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is. You're here today. You know,
Yeah.
Mike didn't torment you to where you couldn't sleep at all, so that's good.
No.
And so what I'll say before we get into the first thing I really wanted to talk about is, in a life's past, aka like a year ago, I had a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and if I still had that job or that work schedule, there is no doubt in my mind I would have already gone to a theater with my popcorn, with my candy, with my drink, at the ready to be entertained by Madam Web, starring Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney. No doubt in my mind. And unfortunately, my work schedule, I work some nights, it's a little more inconsistent. And it came out on Thursday, Madam Web did. The world's never been the same since.
Mm-mm.
But I have not seen it yet. You have not seen it yet. But it is something I wanted to talk about because you were bringing it up because were you like kind of just made aware of like how bad it was this morning from that TikTok you sent me, or? Yeah,
like I woke up this morning because I like lately I've been really bad about getting on TikTok. Like I have been like anti-phone lately, and like I have this like policy where like I don't get on my phone in bed, like literally like refuse. Like when I go to bed at night, like and people say that it's really good for you, and like that's probably why I sleep so well. Like I don't look at a screen after like 8 or 9 p.m. at night. Like I just don't. But this morning I woke up and I was like, hey, I got some time. I'm gonna play around on my phone. So I opened up TikTok, and yeah, I was just spammed with Madam Web stuff. I sent you a couple of ones. I don't think you had time to look at it, but I mean, I don't really have a lot of context other than that. Apparently, it was really bad based on the TikToks I was seeing.
Right.
But I was laughing at the reviews, and you know, it's great because and I was explaining this to Sam this morning. It's Dakota Johnson, right? I want to say Dakota Fanning. I know it's not. That's the one that bit people. Dakota Johnson is pretty famous for having not controversial interviews, but like she's hilarious in interviews. Like she's very blunt. Like you can't really tell if she's joking or not. She like has that iconic moment where she called out Ellen on the Ellen Show, like in front of a live audience. So she's kind of a what's the right word? She's unpredictable.
She's a pot stirrer.
Yeah, she's a pot stirrer. She's unpredictable. So it's funny that the movie bombed because she's like the perfect person to speak on it because whatever. You get my point. I'm tongue-tied.
Well, I think, yes. What you're trying to say basically is like she's not the first, you know, I was about to say A-list. She's not A-list. She's probably somewhere between like B and C.
Yeah.
Probably somewhere between B and C, but like she's not the first sort of big-time Hollywood actress who has starred in a really bad movie, let alone a really bad superhero movie.
Mm-hmm.
The best example I can think of is the infamous Halle Berry Catwoman movie. That was kind of a little bit before our time. It was like the early 2000s. But Halle Berry was in like a really, really, really bad Catwoman movie. And so this is like probably the closest comparison you can make between Madam Web and this one. But I told you this pre-recording, and I think it's kind of interesting, so I wanted to just kind of touch on it here. But basically, like, there's really I don't see how this could have played out any way other than this. But I really don't see how, like, this is. I think this is the only scenario where this played out.
I know.
Or this could have played out. But basically, Marvel is like the thing right now. Well, it's kind of slowly becoming not the thing. But, you know, historically over the last 10 or so years, the only really big budget Hollywood movies that are like almost guaranteed to make a lot of money, if you're not working with like the holy trinity of directors, is a superhero movie. Everyone's trying to get one. Once you got one, it was like, okay, you're legit now.
Yeah.
Like you can go buy your mansion. You know, you can send your kids to boarding school. You can get them out of your house. You can buy your Ferrari. You're in a superhero movie.
Yeah.
That's always the goal.
Yeah.
So this is basically what happened is Dakota Johnson, and probably Sydney Sweeney too, but we're going to focus on Dakota right here because this is actually true. She got, you know, her agent was like, Dakota, big news. You're going to be in a Marvel movie. And she's like, oh my God, that's fantastic. And they're like, yep, and they're paying you $5 million or whatever. She's like, oh my God, this is perfect. Probably didn't even read the script. Probably just like, yeah, sure. It's a superhero movie. I'm going to swing around on webs and, you know, I'm going to have a villain. And, like, they're very straightforward. I don't really probably even need to read the script. And then, you know, they shoot the movie. You're not really thinking about the quality while you're shooting it. You're like, yeah, the director said that was a good line. That was good. That was a good read. Okay, cool. Next scene. And basically, a week after the first trailer came out, Dakota Johnson fired her agent, and switched agencies. She was with WME, William & Morris Entertainment, and then she left for CAA, which, I mean, probably an upgrade for just in general, you know, not the worst career move even without this. But the only thing that really makes sense as to why she's even in this movie is her agent was like, oh, you're gonna be in a Marvel movie. She's like, oh, that's great. Well, here's the thing, folks. And some people don't know this, but if you've ever wondered why, like, the Tobey Maguire Superman movie or Spider-Man movies from the early mid 2000s, the Andrew Garfield ones from like the early 2010s, why those were all made by Sony. The first Spider-Man movie that was made in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is the Tom Holland ones.
Right.
Those are the ones that are in the MCU.
Yeah.
That's like big time. He's an Avenger, whatever, right? But basically in like the 90s, early 2000s, the Marvel, like the company, this is before they made all their money on movies and they were primarily like comic books. All of their movies failed. Like they had like no successful movies basically until Iron Man in 2008. So in the 90s, early 2000s, they were facing bankruptcy. And one of the things they did to save the company was they sold the movie rights to a lot of their popular franchises. Also why all X-Men movies are made by Fox. They sold the X-Men franchise to Fox. I believe Fantastic Four as well. So they tried to make like 3 or 4 Fantastic Four movies, and those are all made by Warner Brother Fox.
I love those movies. Sam hates them, but I love the Fantastic Four.
I have some nostalgia for like is it Jessica Alba when she plays what's her name?
Yeah, she plays like the Invisible Woman, and then it's like very, very early Chris Evans is the Human Torch.
Yes. Those movies probably aren't that good, but I do have some nostalgia for them. You're gonna kill me for that?
They are good. No, you're right. It's more of like a nostalgia thing. I haven't seen them in a while because Sam refuses to watch them. But sorry, I interrupted you.
So you're good. So what happened basically is after Spider-Man became a part of the MCU, Sony was like, well, what are we going to do? And I think what they realized, and this was like probably part of the agreement, was, oh, Sony, you can still use Spider-Man villains. You just can't have Spider-Man in it. And they're like, okay, bet. So they made the Venom movies with Tom Hardy. They made 2 of those. I've heard those are not very good either. Haven't seen them myself.
Me either.
But now the latest one in this series is Madam Web. I know nothing about who Madam Web is as a character. Neither does Dakota Johnson probably, so that doesn't really matter. And like that's they got to make superhero movies. Well, they're kind of scraping the cupboards. Okay, we got Madam Web. All right, let's just cast a big name actress as like this character. And by the way, I have no idea who Sydney Sweeney plays in this movie. I just know she's in it. I have no idea what her character's name is. What's her super? No one cares. Actually, no one cares. Forget that. I'm not even gonna Google. It's not worth the finger strain for me to Google what her character is.
Right.
It's really not worth it.
Right.
But it's so clear to me that they would have never taken this role if they're like, okay, Dakota, so you're not really in the MCU. You're actually a part of like this side universe with Sony where all of their movies suck, and you're not gonna have scenes with Chris Evans. Well, he's not even in it anymore. Who's even still in it? Just say Tom Holland. Like, you're not gonna have a scene where it's like you and Tom Holland like chopping it up,
right,
killing bad guys, right?
Right.
It's just not they don't have the right. It's just not gonna happen. And I would assume she did not know that. And so, like, probably after the movie closed, she's like, okay, like, I'm waiting for the call from, like, where's Madam Web 2, right? Or, like, how, you know, like, she, like, watches a rough cut of the movie, and she's like, well, where's the after credit scene where, like, Nick Fury comes down, and he's like, Madam Web, I'm recruiting a team, and you're an all female badass team, and you and Sydney Sweeney are leading it. That didn't happen, and she's like, what's up with that? And her agent's like, oh, technically, you have no connection to the MCU.
Yeah.
And actually, nobody gives a fuck about your cinematic universe that probably doesn't even really exist. Like, the best that you got is you and Tom Hardy in a full black suit might have a scene together if this movie does well. And she's like, oh, that's not what I signed up for. Okay, you're fired. Bye-bye. And it's just very interesting. It's always very interesting to me whenever, like, a really, really bad movie gets fully made in Hollywood.
Yeah, and now it's like it almost is like she's pre-signed up to do all of the press. So, like, she can't get out of, like, the press interviews. So she's just, like, really just bulldozing her way through these interviews, just beating around the bush.
Yeah.
Like, but the thing is like, this is like phase 1, right? So, like, let's see by like phase 3 of press where she's like, all right, guys, I get it. It's a terrible movie. My mistake. I fired my agents. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's going to start to self-destruct at some point. Like, from the pieces and snippets of interviews I've seen so far, like, she's kind of been, you know, she's got a PR team that's helping her sort of dodge the bullets. But, I mean, knowing her, like, going back to the Ellen interview, like, she's going to get to the point where she's going to be like, all right, fuck it. I'm still getting paid off 50 Shades of Grey. Like, I'm just going to go around and say, you know, I had no clue what this movie was about. It was my mistake. It bombed. Like, you guys are right. Like, I'm waiting for those interviews.
For sure. Just for those who don't know, so she was on Ellen in, like, 2018, 2019 or something. And Ellen, because she's a cold bitch, excuse my language, but Ellen was like, Dakota, I wasn't invited to your birthday party. And Dakota was like, yeah, you were. And she's like, what do you mean I was? And she's like, Ellen, I invited you, and you said no. And she's like, well, I didn't know that. And it's like, really, it was a very awkward moment on air. Because weirdly, they shoot that show actually live.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. But they actually shoot it live. And so it's just like part of the interview where she kind of just like calls Ellen out on the spot. And then Ellen has to kind of backtrack and kind of save face live on air. She probably got chewed out for that, you know, behind the scenes. Like, Dakota, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But that's what that was. I will say, kind of shout out to Sydney Sweeney for kind of floating under the radar with this, because she probably feels the exact same way.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh, thank God. Like, because if you look at the poster, I'm looking at the poster right now. It's like a very, like, stereotypical, like, superhero poster where it's, like, kind of dark and it's, like, all their faces and there's, like, kind of gold streaks going through them, you know, like, edited. And it says Dakota Johnson in Madam Web. And then Sydney Sweeney's just, like, one of, like, the little, like, faces, like, way smaller.
Yeah.
So Sydney Sweeney can kind of just be like, all right. And by the way, Sydney Sweeney has been in her fair share of stinkers as well. I don't know if you've ever seen... Oh my God, what is that movie called? Hold on. Like, Sydney Sweeney, not necessarily, like, she's not only doing Oscar movies at this point. You know, she's been in some stinkers.
Oh, okay.
She was in this movie called Reality. This is what it's called? Yes. Do not watch this movie. It is such a waste of your time. Sorry. I looked up this movie, and the cast came up, and the 5th listed person on the cast is Tucker Carlson.
Tucker. Oh, this is the guy we've talked about
strange.
before that I get confused with somebody else named Tucker. So back to Sydney Sweeney. I feel like it's one of those things where like you said, she's flying under the radar. She's like, look, guys, everybody knows. I know I was hired for two things: my left boob and my right boob.
Sure. Yeah.
You didn't laugh as hard as that as I thought you were gonna laugh at that. My joke bombed.
Okay.
That sounded like an evil villain laugh.
I know. I'd probably be a better villain than whoever. There might not even be a villain in Madam Web. It could be like, oh, girl power. They don't need villains. Or if it is a villain, it'll just be like a guy representing like toxic masculinity or something. Yeah. Right. That's probably the way they go. By the way, really quick, this film Reality. So really quick, this movie absolutely sucks. Do not watch it. But the movie, it's like an hour and 20 minutes long. It's super low budget. I really cannot believe she must have filmed this movie years ago. But I saw it on Max. It has 6.7. It has a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. Fuck off. This movie sucks. So this movie is basically it's about a woman who she worked for the government, and she in 2017 or something, she really hated Trump. The one in real life, there's this woman in Savannah, Georgia, who did something. She was like a translator with the government, and she got a hold of this document that was supposed to link Trump with Russia or something. Yeah. And so she leaked it. She leaked it to the press, and then that kind of started the whole Russia-Trump collusion stories. And she basically the FBI came to her house and found that she whistle blew. And she got arrested. I think she's still in jail. Something like that. It doesn't matter. But the whole movie, Kathleen, there is not a script for this movie. The whole movie, I swear to God, the whole movie, word for word, is just a perfect remake of the FBI documents of how the conversations went down between two FBI agents. And the woman's name is Reality. That's why Sydney Sweeney's character is named Reality. It's this woman from Savannah, Georgia. Mm-hmm. No, not Savannah. Augusta, Georgia. Sorry.
Oh,
way worse.
Yeah, Savannah's cool.
Way worse. Yeah, Savannah is cool. Augusta is not. And the whole movie is there's not lines. It's all just and it's to the point where if you watch it, literally, if the FBI agent or Reality in real life stuttered or flubbed on a word, they had to recreate that. So it's when you watch movies, it's this isn't really how real people talk.
Yeah.
It's kind of unrealistic. That's the fucking point though. This movie is imagine you're talking to someone and they're like, yeah, so I'm just trying to gather my thoughts here. So you said that on November 16th, you didn't print this document out? And she's like, yeah, something like that. And that's literally the line to it's so bad. Yeah. This is all to say, Sydney Sweeney, not necessarily only doing Oscar movies as well, but she really, she also did that rom-com with Glenn Powell. I don't know if that's any good or not.
Anyone but you.
Yeah. Gee, I wonder if they get together at the end. What a twist that would be. Yeah. But it's really fascinating because the last time that I can remember a really bad superhero movie make this much press is the 2015 Fantastic Four reboot that they were going to do. I don't know if you remember this. It flopped really bad. They never did. It was in 2015. It had Miles Teller. It had I can find it. Hold on. Basically, the story of this movie is it had another director. You ever seen, the movie where it was in 20. Yeah, it's got 2015 Fantastic Four. It's got Kate Mara, hot, Michael B. Jordan, Miles Teller. Pretty fire cast. It did horribly. It has a 9% Rotten Tomatoes. They never made another one. Whatever. That movie was basically finished. But the director was a hothead, and the studio executives hated him. So they filmed the whole movie. They fired him, and then they reshot 70% of it to just change it. Okay. And it was really disjointed and really terrible. I saw that one in theaters as well. But this is the closest thing to that, where it's this movie that it's really fascinating when a movie that bad is just because they have to release it.
Yeah.
Because like they have, you know, I
They gotta
mean, I
make
guess they
money.
don't have to because there's the whole Warner Brothers thing where they made that whole Looney Tunes movie and they just axed it. And they also there was a DC movie recently that they just fully finished and just axed, like Wonder Girl or something, something like that. There's like a whole DC movie that they just did this too with, because apparently if you make a whole movie and then just not release it, you can just write it off on your taxes. But sometime, I just swear to God, yeah. They just
No,
do
I
that.
believe you.
Yeah, so it's very interesting they didn't do that with this movie, if it is really that bad. And it's very funny, like, on Twitter and on TikTok, there are people just, like, filming scenes off their phone of the movie. And none of them are getting DMCA takedown. Like, none of them. Like, not even the studio gives a fuck. Like, they're just like, yeah, all right, fine. Doesn't matter. Which I just always find it very interesting whenever a movie this bad actually makes it through. But like you said, going back to what you said about Dakota Johnson in the interviews, I think she probably did reach that point where there were probably a couple like industry interviews she did where she sits down and she's just like, all right, look, guys, this movie fucking sucks. Just can you please like just give me a break? I'm sorry. Hey, guess what? I'm not perfect. I was on vacation and I read like the first 5 pages and I said, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, hey guys, sorry. And there's like, we haven't even started the interview yet.
Yeah. No,
Right.
literally.
And so, you know, I'll be viewing it if it stays in theaters long enough. I'm always really interested with really bad movies.
Well, that's what I was going to say is I wish I would have seen it before I would have heard about the backlash. Like, I wish I would, because now I'm going to go into it, if I do see it, now I'm going to go into it, like, with those assumptions. Like, I wish it would have been, like, I wish I would have seen it before I heard how bad it was so that I could really form, like, a raw opinion of it. But now when I do see it, I'm going to know, you know, I'm going to be looking for those little things that people have called out and looking for, like, those little, you know, weird moments or disconjointed scenes. But, you know, that's what social media does. It ruins everything. Everything's spoiled.
But would you have ever seen it if you heard it was, like, just okay? Doesn't it make it way more interesting that it is that bad?
I mean, Sam likes to see movies in the theater, so I would say maybe, just because, like, it would give us an excuse to, like, go see a movie in the theater. But, like, it's not like I'm, like, some huge, like, superhero movie person. Like, I've seen a majority, 90% of the Marvel movies, like, but, you know, I don't know. Probably not, because I'm also, like, and this is gonna sound like me, like, bashing my own gender, but, like, Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney are not two actresses that I like to watch. Like, I don't know. I just get the ick from both of them. So, like, that's probably something that would make me not want to watch it. But at the same time, like, if Sam was like, let's go see this in the theater, I'd probably be like, okay. Depending on the day.
Would you feel betrayed if Sam was like, yeah, I heard this movie's pretty good. Do you want to go see Madam Web? And you watched it. And you were like, Sam, what the fuck was that? Really? That's really the one, you know? Like, would you feel even more betrayed?
I mean, I wouldn't blame him, you know what I mean? But, I don't know. I don't think I would blame him. I think I would just be like, wow, like, that movie fucking bombed. Like, Wonder Woman 2, like we were talking about. I saw Wonder Woman 2 in the theaters, too, I'm pretty sure. But, you know,
it was actually never released in theaters.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm lying about that. Then I must have seen it on demand. I think I saw the first one in theaters then, right? Were neither of them released in theaters?
No, the first one was. The second one was released. It was like it came out on Christmas Day on Max or HBO Max at the time, because that's how I remember watching it. Is my parents on Christmas Day, whatever it was, 2020, I think. They were like, "Yeah, let's watch this new Wonder Woman movie," and I watched the opening scene of it is just completely ridiculous, and I was like, no thanks. And then they watched the rest of it, and I was like, did I miss anything? They're like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, sweet. And that's my experience with Wonder Woman 1984. So we kind of teased this last week. We might get to it today. It might be next week, depending on how much longer we record for. But last week we teased that we had a segment about like child exploitation on social media and how celebrities kind of put their kids kind of just out for the public to ridicule. That's one way to look at it. Maybe the other one would be for the public to praise them or whatever it is. Like, people, basically celebrities creating like social media accounts for their kids. Now, we you know, like I said, we might get to that today. But before we do, speaking of kids on social media, this is basically like a 27-year-old, 13-year-old on social media that I find very interesting, that I wanted to talk about. One of the things that we haven't done in a couple weeks that I really enjoy doing is just like reacting to really odd shit I find on TikTok.
For
And
sure.
it's one of our favorite things that I like to do. Shout out to Kiko. Shout out to really just the whole American Idol, Leen Show Idol segment. It's just that, basically, just for music. By the way, I'm loading up on candidates for episode 3 of Leen Show Idol.
Oh, yeah, it's coming.
My TikTok algo at this point is like,
Dude.
This guy loves shitty white boy rap with 200 likes. I don't know what it is. This guy loves it, though.
And you're probably on, like, we talk about this, like, no way you haven't been flagged on some weird lists, like, because of your algorithm. Like, just some of the stuff you send me, I'm like, what? Like, I can't even begin to describe how that gets on your For You page. And it's not, like, it's nothing dirty. It's nothing, like, scary or weird. It's just stuff that literally makes absolutely no sense. Like, the woman that was like, if you want to be friends, my only criteria is you use State Farm. So if you use State Farm, let's be friends. And I was like, okay. Like, TikToks that you can't even really respond to. Like, you send me shit where I'm like, how many times do I respond to you? And my response is always the same. And I go, that broke my brain. Like, literally videos that you send me where I'm like, my brain can't rationalize what that was, and therefore it's impossible for me to formulate a response. So I'm like, my brain just broke.
All right, here. I'll play that one really quick just for the people.
Please.
Hi. So if you live in Michigan and you use Progressive Insurance, we need to be friends. Hi.
That's it.
If you live in Michigan.
This is the woman right here.
And she's, like, sitting on the floor in her kitchen because you can see, like, her cabinets behind her. So she's, like, sitting in the corner of her kitchen on the floor, booty on the floor, crisscross applesauce.
Yeah.
And she goes, if you're in Michigan and you use Progressive Insurance, let's be friends.
And this is actually, I can segue this really good into what I wanted to talk about. Because actually another one that I sent you I believe it's like an advertisement for some kind of like portable bong or something, the Jiffy Jeeb. Wait, is that what it's called?
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
The Jiffy Jeeb? Okay, all right. So the Jiffy Jeeb, doesn't matter what it is. It's like a little portable bong and like a water bottle or something. But I got a TikTok and it's clearly an ad trying to promote this. And so what they did was they're doing a real form of guerrilla marketing where they're like, so they're at West Virginia University because that's where it's tagged. So they're college kids. And it's these kids and they're like, hey, you can hit a Jiffy Jeeb anywhere. And he's clearly like in a school building.
Like a lecture hall.
And he walks into a lecture hall, yeah. And he walks into a classroom. And he's like, look how easy it is to hit a Jiffy Jeeb. And I guess the plan was, like, he's going to go viral because he's going to smoke weed in a classroom or something. Like, no one's ever done that before. Nelk has done that a million times, and that'll transition really well into what we're about to talk about. So, this guy, like, walks in, and he's, like, about to hit it, and then the teacher is just standing at the door like, what are you doing? Get out of here. And then he like puts it on the ground to like hit like the bong, and she just like knocks it over and like water spills all over the bottom of the floor, and it's like carpet.
Weed is actually legal.
Like,
I just looked it up.
Doing?
Weed's legal in Virginia too, because like that was a question I had because the teacher didn't seem well.
It's West Virginia.
Yeah. Well, granted, I'm sure college teachers or college professors, I should say, are unfazed by a lot of things because college kids are crazy. But just for a quick fact check, I did Google it. Weed is legalized in Virginia as of 2021.
Well, I don't mean to community notes you, but I don't know. I don't think it is legal in West Virginia.
What's the difference?
It is 2 different states, my lady. That is
what?
2 different states.
What?
We're just gonna. We're okay. This is not real, right? West Virginia and Virginia are 2 different states.
So if I look up a list of
way,
50 states right now, if I look up a list of the 50 states right now, there's going to be a Virginia and there's going to be a West Virginia?
There's no way.
I'm literally
Yes.
Googling a list of 50 states right now. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And
There would be
DC isn't in
49
and DC is Washington DC isn't in either of them. 50 states.
No, that's a province.
Hang on.
By the way, it is legal in West Virginia as well.
Oh
So-
my god. You're right. I'm staring at the map right now. Wow. You learn something new every day on this podcast, especially if you're me. No, I wasn't joking. That was real. I didn't know West Virginia was a
Oh
state.
my god. Oh my
I
god.
feel like
Okay,
fucking Bert right now. I'm Bert and you're Tom. Like, genuinely. Like, that
Jesus
should be a big
Christ.
compliment to you. Wow. Okay. Sorry, everyone.
Okay. All right, that kind of threw me off a little bit, but let me get back in podcast mode.
I broke your brain.
So, a little bit, but I guess I mean, you in a really indirect way, you were right. It is also legal in West Virginia, which I didn't know.
Okay.
So, but this is a very long. Let me get back to, so, kids on social media, right? So what I'm going to show you is not a kid. He's anywhere from 23 to probably 35 years old. But it's a guy, is a TikToker named Adski777. Okay. You ready for Adski?
I'm ready.
So all of his TikToks are tagged at Ferris State University, which is a college in Michigan.
Okay.
So this would be way more sad if this guy was not an actual college student. I have an inkling he's not, but let's just assume that he is a college student. So this is basically what happens if you are on TikTok and you consume a lot of social media and you see people who kind of blow up based on having like funny personalities, based on catchphrases, building a brand, stuff like that. This is a story of, if you do that and you're like, oh, all you have to do is just go on there and like say your catchphrases and film yourself doing something cool and then you get famous. But what they don't realize is it takes actual like charisma and talent to do that in a way that actually resonates with people. So if you don't have charisma and you're just like spouting catchphrases and doing odd shit, as Woody Harrelson would say to Matthew McConaughey in True Detective, stop saying odd shit, right? Like this is what happens. So I'm going to share my screen with you right here, and we're just going to take a look and see a peek into the life of Adski777. So it's right here. Now, just really quick, so you're familiar with Nelk, right? Full
Yes.
Send, Happy
Yes.
Dad, all that stuff, right? The
Yes.
fake Canadian bro accent that all the kids are doing now.
Yes.
Okay. So we're just going to jump right in because all these videos are pretty much the same. Here we go. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
All right, boys, we made it to another Friday. I just got done working out. You can go ahead and tell your mother I'll take some clam chowder for dinner. Kind of hungry right now, boys. And yeah, boys, we made it to another Friday. Cheers to you guys, boys. Why cheer me? Cheers to you guys, boys. And tell your mother salute her, boys. Without your mother, you ain't even here, boys, alright? So tell your mother I said, how you doing? Alright, boys, next question.
All right, boys.
What's up, buddy? Yeah, buddy, it's Friday, buddy. What are you doing? Oh, I'm about to shotgun, buddy. Is that alright with you? Ha! Because if it's not, buddy, I'm still gonna do it, bud. Alright, boys. Well, looks like we're fucking shoddy teching because it's Shoddy Friday. Alright, boys. We got the Full Send Shoddy tool coming at you, dumb piece, buddy. Alright, boys, let's pop it open. Pop shoving it. Tell your mother I said, how you doing? Alright, boys, happy Friday. Got a bushel latte for your mother's dome. Tell your auntie, too, I said, how you doing? 1, 2, 3, how's your grandmother?
This is so cool.
Peace.
All right,
Wow.
so that's essentially what all of his videos are. We're gonna watch maybe one or two more of them,
Okay.
but because there's another dynamic here that he says in one of these that I would really like to explore. But essentially, for the audio listeners, you're looking at a guy who, if he had more raggedy clothing you would think that he's probably panhandling for loose cigarettes on the side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
But because he's decked out head to toe in full send gear, then he kind of just looks like a wannabe kind of frat boy.
Yeah.
Would you say he looks young? Would you say if he was in a college lecture, he would not stick out like a sore thumb?
Well, two questions there. Would he stick out like a sore thumb? Yeah, probably. But, like, this is one of those guys that he could be 20 or he could be 40, and you just don't really know.
Exactly. So we're going to do one more, because this is the first one I saw. Let me just...
Wow, a lot of views.
Yeah, not a lot of likes. A lot of views, though. And I don't know if you can tell, just like in the thumbnails here, he's filming at the same spot of his apartment. He's got a little Happy Dad sign like right next to his stairs. From what I can tell, it's like one of these like newer apartment buildings where like they tried to just similar to one that we lived in Tallahassee, where it's like everything's white or beige, and it's got that fake hardwood floor, and it looks new. But after like 2-3 years, especially if it's not maintained, it will just completely fall apart.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it looks like. It's one of these like new age kind of apartment buildings that are just not built to last.
Yeah.
So sorry, that's not the one. I'm going to cut this. There's one. Hold on. Not that. See, they're all exactly the same, and there's one I'm trying to find. It's this one. Okay, here we go.
You already know. All right, boys. It's Friday. The boys are in the back right now, getting clam chowder from your mother. So now what we gotta do, boys? Do I even gotta tell you, boys? I mean, it's Friday, boys. We finna get fucking, how's your mother sham bam wow tam doing, buddy?
That's English.
Alright, boys? Get wetter than your mother's Christmas tree tonight. Tell your fucking mother I said how you fucking doing. Alright, boys, let's pop it open. We got a Happy Dad Death Row grape for your mother right here, boys. We got the full send shoddy tool too for your mother right here, boys. Coming at your dome piece. Tell your mother I said how you doing. Alright, boys, let's get right into it. You already know what we're finna do, boys. We finna pop it first. Pop it like a fucking how you doing in the AM, buddy. Alright, boys. Tell your mother I said cheers.
And he's not even good at shotgunning. It's taken way too long. Like, it's not impressive. Like, it's not an impressive speed.
No, it's not, is it?
Peace.
So there's a couple things I wanted to explore there. The main one that gets really existential if you think about it is the opening line of that video, if you guys recall, is, hey, what's up, guys? It's Friday. That's how most of them start. Is he says the day of the week. All right, boys, it's Saturday. All right, boys, it's Thursday. But in this particular case, it's a Friday. But he also says the boys are in their back going a little how you doing, a little sham bam wham tam. It's like it's not funny. It's not even like English. He's just like saying shit, trying to be again, this kind of goes back to like if you just consume social media and you see people and you're like, oh, this is all you have to do, but then you are not actually funny or have charisma, so you're just like a human soundboard essentially.
Yeah,
you're just spouting catchphrases, hoping people will laugh because they recognize the catchphrase. Like he says, like, tell your mother how you doing. He says that like 15 times a video.
Well,
like he has like 3 lines. But the other one, really quick, that I wanted to say is, he says the boys are in the back. I do not believe him. I don't think there's anybody at his apartment.
No.
I don't think there's a single person.
No.
I think he's like, yeah, boys, I got a big backyard in the back. I got a bunch of boys. We're listening to the new Yeet, and we're drinking Happy Dads, and we're playing Beer Die. We're having a great time back there. There's nobody, right?
Yeah, there's nobody.
There's not a soul in that house.
No, there's not a soul. And I guess where I'm stumped is the accent, because it's almost like an Italian Boston hybrid, which is like very contradicting. Like I feel like there's Bostonians and then there's like Italian people, and like I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that they really like each other. But it's like he talks about clam chowder, which is like a Boston thing with like a Boston accent, but then he goes into like tell ya mother, whatever, how you doing? Like, that to me is like an Italian, like, Jersey Shore thing. So he's kind of like mixing dialects here, and it's very confusing. It's not endearing at all. It's just it's a mind fuck.
So what he's trying to do, this is the best I can come up with, is do you know Meals by Coog? You know Coog? He's the white Italian guy. He's got like long black hair. He like makes Italian sandwich. He drinks Diet Cokes. He makes like sandwiches at his house. And he's like, "Tell your mother said how you doing." He talks exactly like that, but that's like just like who he is.
Yeah.
He's a big TikTok guy. I think this guy is literally he's combining like the kind of hockey Canadian dialect that Nelk really popularized, but then also just doing it in an Italian accent because he's trying to rip off Coog. So it's like some weird amalgamation of both of those combined that is just really off-putting, I think. It's just very strange.
Yeah, and then throwing him clam chowder. Like, that's like a Boston thing. Like, that's really where I'm like no part of clam chowder. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like I don't think any part of clam chowder has anything to do with like Italian people. Like,
no, it's more like he's just using it. Like, he probably heard Coog say that once, talking about like, you know, like a mother's, you know, like her clam, you know, like clam chowder.
God. Yeah.
It's like that's what he's saying. He's like, "Oh yeah, give me a little clam chowder from your mother. How you doing?"
Your impression is good.
Well, it's not the hardest voice to replicate. That's kind of the thing. Is like, this guy is not just oozing with talent. You know, he's kind of just like a sad reality of really good marketing.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the marketing is, you know, it doesn't matter if you're failing in life or how good or not you're doing in life or who you are or what you think. If you throw on, you know, full send merch and you drink Happy Dads and you shotgun, then like you're cool.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
That's it's kind of a sad reality of really good marketing, I think. I'm gonna play one more here.
Okay.
Let's do one more.
Not a monster.
All right, boys, happy Thursday. So I was at the gas station. I found a 19.2 ounce monster, regular can, not the twist softs. Said no way.
Why not?
Gotta buy it, gotta try it, sugar free. It's Thursday night, boys. Let's get into one. Tomorrow's Friday. We got the full send shotty tool coming at your dome piece. You already know what we finna do. Pop it open.
Ooh.
Send it down the hatch, bud.
That's a big pop, bro.
Pretty cool. Never seen one like this, regular can. All right, boys.
Oh, God.
All right, boys.
He's going to go into cardiac arrest.
You'd think, right?
Oh, God. That makes me want to vomit. So, I have another interesting take on this. What if this guy is being really meta here and is just trying to, like, make fun of, like, the Nelk Boys, Happy Dad, culture, whatever, and, like he's being super meta and is, like, just kind of, like, mimicking them, like, almost just being over the top, like, obnoxious, just to be, like, why the fuck do we like these guys? Like, you know what I mean? Like basically saying they have no talent. Like, this is all they do, and I can get famous doing this, and this is all they do in the first place, so why do we even care? Do we think he's capable of being that meta?
So you're saying he's like a Daniel Day-Lewis level method actor.
Yeah.
Like a real Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
Where he's like really getting into character of like, all right, you know, okay, all right, let me get into character. My name is Adsky777. I'm 28 years old, but I still live in a college town. All my friends are like 22, 23, and they think I'm kind of weird, but I buy them all, like I buy them all Happy Dads, and they wear my full send shirts. So, you know, they kind of let me play beer die with them in the back, right? Like, oh, they think it's funny that I shotgun monsters, and they bring me around like a circus animal, kind of.
Yeah.
It could be. What I would say is not only just like how kind of cringe it is and like how spot on the character is. The main thing I would say is, if that is true, and I was going to bring this up, the insane commitment, because of how much full send merch he has.
Yeah.
Now you can see my screen right here. Just look at all the thumbnails.
Yeah, I mean, there's 24 different
all
shirts,
different.
like just from
It's
this
all
one.
different.
Yeah.
He never repeats a full send fit. It's always the happy. Like, I think he has like the same Happy Dad hat, whatever. That's fine. But look at the shirts. They're all like it's like he has like a personal collection of every piece of merch full send has ever dropped. Every shirt is different. He's like, oh, here's the Happy Dad shirt. Here's the Hasbulla hoodie. Here's the St. Louis Cardinals full send shirt. Here's the Florida Gators. Like in one of the videos we watched, he's wearing like a Steve Will Do It shirt that's like him ripped and it's like Gold's Gym. And then another one that's like the Lucky Charms thing logo, and it just says full send under it.
I mean,
like,
is there
this guy has spent thousands of dollars on full send merch.
Or maybe I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Is there any way that they're sponsoring him? I mean, he's got over 100,000 followers. Like, maybe they're sending him merch. Like, and here's the thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but don't the Nelk boys kind of have, like, a lot of influence over, like, little boys? Like, little boys that don't know better, that just look up to them and think they're hilarious and think they're so cool. So, like, this could be a way of, like, selling their merch. Like, just, like, they're like, all right, whether this guy is completely and 100% aware of what he's doing and he's committed to the bit, or he's just completely oblivious and thinks that he's actually funny and is a comedian and is therefore committing to the bit. Regardless, if I'm Nelk's marketing or Happy Dad, whatever the fucking conglomerate is, and I see that this guy's averaging, let's be generous and say 50,000 views per video, because some of his videos have over 100,000. Some of his videos have under 10,000. So let's say he's averaging 50K views on TikTok. I'm sending him free shit. Why not? He's consistent. You know, he's posting. I mean, if anything, he's not getting paid for this, so why not toss him a free shirt? Just give him the misprints, you know? Give him the sizes that nobody wanted. Why not? Like, this is very interesting.
It is very interesting. I would say because I am kind of like a, you know, I worked in marketing for a while. I'd probably, hopefully, plan on doing it soon after, or, you know, in the future. I would say if I'm looking at this and I work for Full Send and I'm like, do we want to sponsor this guy? Do we want to whatever? I would say, like, this guy probably represents the worst of what our brand is or could be. I don't know if this is the guy you want, like, you want to, you know, because you're right. And when I say kids, really, like, I would say, like, late middle school into, like, probably sophomore, juniors in college.
Yeah.
Is probably, so I'd say, like, 14 to, like, 21.
For sure.
Is, like, the main demographic.
Yes.
And it used to be Old Row.
Yeah.
Now, Old Row, obviously, not really as big anymore. So this is like the new Old Row, where like you would meet high schoolers and they'd have like a million Old Row shirts and the hat and they got the koozie and like the shotgun tools or whatever. And now kind of Full Send kind of filled in that market and is bigger than probably they ever were. But I would say, like, this guy doesn't really make it look cool. In fact, especially if you read the comments. Let's just take a quick look at the comments. It's actually incredibly sad. A lot of people think this is. So, hold on. Not that one. Let me find some good comments on here. I don't know. Well, there's one that's unironic. So, for this one right here, the second top comment is, "This is so Nelk, bro." And then the third one says, "Liver's shot." True. And then the fourth one, and see, this is like kind of going to your point where maybe some people do think this is awesome.
Yeah.
The fourth top comment from our boy Saxon, Saxon, says, "It's Saturday. Time to pop a zinny, down a monsty, and crank the tunes."
Mm-hmm. So he's like,
this is sick. This guy's awesome.
That's what I'm saying, and like I think that's the thing. And like obviously we didn't have TikTok when we were kids, but like I remember thinking like things that I thought were hilarious as like a middle schooler and like early high schooler, I watch now and I'm like, literally, what the F was wrong with me? Like Miranda Sings, for example. Like I thought that was hilarious growing up, and looking at it now, I'm like, oh my God, I'm embarrassed that I ever watched this shit. Like I can see an account like this and posts like this being super, super targeted for like 13-year-old boys that probably do watch this and think it's absolutely hilarious. Like, you got to get in the mind of like a kid that's brain isn't developed yet and doesn't know, shit from shit. Like, they look at this and they're like, oh my God, I can't wait till I get to college and I can make TikToks like this and I can shotgun like this. Like, the boys are out back, man. Like, the boys are out back. Like, I could just really see that being the marketing on this, like, truly.
No, I get it. And it's kind of like, when you're like growing up in like elementary, middle school, and you watch like a high school movie and you're like, oh my God, high school is going to be sick.
Right.
It's parties. It's like girls.
Yeah.
Like, you're hooking up. Like, you go to basketball games, you go to football games, you go to house parties, all this stuff. Oh, it's awesome. And it's like this kind of like romanticized version of what it actually is.
Right.
But this is basically like, oh, I want to be like a degenerate alcoholic in college. And like, I want to like drink 12 Happy Dads on a Friday and smoke 10 cigarettes and go, drink shotgun 2 monsters, I guess, not even drink them.
Right.
Like, this is, if you're like 13, 14 years old, then this is you probably would think this is cool. But as a 25-year-old, I think this is like a very, like I said earlier, I think it's a very sad reality of what that marketing actually does to people.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you can watch the Nelk videos where they have like sick videographers and they like film stuff really cool and they have really good cameras and they like edit it and they're like, oh my God, look at this. They got hot girls and they got, shotgunning and they're like in some cool place. They're in like Miami and they're partying. They're on a yacht, and they're at space and everything's awesome. But then like you watch that when you go to Ferris State in Michigan and you're like, oh, I could do that here. Like, that's how you feel like when me and my bros, who may or may not exist, are in the back playing Beer Die. That's like what it's the feeling it's supposed to give off. I don't know though. I'm gonna keep tabs on Adski777.
Please do.
I mean, I did kind of shit on him a little bit where I said, like a lot of people watch social media content from people who have talent or have charisma, and then they think they can just recreate that even if they don't. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this guy does have talent and charisma, and I'm just a hater. So I guess time will tell. Maybe if Nelk needs a new member, then maybe they'll fire up this guy and be like, dude, this guy's sick.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
Full sends every day.
And like that's what we do here on the Leen Show, right? We show up with one opinion and sometimes we leave with another. Like, we're open-minded, and that's the point of digging deep into these types of things.
Yeah, maybe Adski777 is maybe he's got a failing liver, but he's got a heart of gold.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Who's to say? By the way, really quick, we'll just watch this one really quick. I forgot about this one.
Healthy.
You already said that. See, it's almost like, okay, yeah, he shotguns 3.
He's the worst shotgunner in the world. Like, he's the slowest
he's
shotgunner.
Not really good at it.
Yeah.
You'd think if you dedicated your life to one thing, which is drinking as quickly as possible, that you'd be pretty good at it. But I guess not.
Not this guy.
And that was also a really interesting moment. I don't know if you realized, but he said, like, coming at your mother's dome piece or something. He kind of just combined, like, he has like 3 catchphrases, but he combined 2 of them on accident.
Yeah.
Because, like, his catchphrases are, okay, when he's about to shotgun, he's got his tool, and he puts it at the camera, and he's like, coming at your dome piece, which he probably stole from somebody else.
Yeah.
Obviously. And so that's one. And then one of them is like, tell your mother how you doing, which is Kook's thing. So he just stole that. But then he kind of combined those 2 where he's like, tell your mother coming at your dome piece. It's like, that doesn't make sense.
He did. No, it doesn't make any sense.
You combined them, bro. You have 3 phrases.
Right.
Like, they can't interchange like that,
He's remixing. He's live remixing.
Yeah, no, it's like a DJ set, but he's combining his. It's like when you're on a soundboard and you like hit two of the sounds at the same time, and you like combine them. You know, he's remixing live on the spot, which I guess maybe does show his talent. I'm not sure.
Dome piece, dome piece, coming at your mother. Like I could literally see like someone needs to remix this. DJ James Kennedy, please find this guy and remix this on your next next Tuesday.
I would love it. But yeah, so this is the world's biggest Nelk fan. I really hope that this doesn't affect his job opportunities in the future. He does kind of look like a blue collar guy, if we're being honest, right? He looks like a guy, you know. I don't want to say landscaper, construction, right? Maybe he's like an electrician or something.
Yeah, maybe.
And then he just like hopefully, in this guy's best scenario, he's like a plumber, electrician, something like that. Maybe like an HVAC guy. And he does like blue collar work. And then he spends all of his blue collar money on full send gear and Happy Dads and shotgun tools and monsters. And then that's just kind of his life, is he works. So like, I mean, maybe, who's to say like he could be shotgunning these monsters like in the morning and then about to clock in for like an 8-hour shift, right?
Yeah.
So he like shotguns the monster, cuts his phone off, takes off the full send shirt, and throws on like a high res vest. And it's like, all right, time to go out to the site. I'm already hyped up on this monster I shotgunned pretty slowly. Like.
Or he's a fucking,
I don't know.
or he's a fucking med school student and he's sponsored and he's getting paid for every single video and he's putting himself through school. I mean, we don't know. We're making assumptions here. We don't know.
I would love that. I would love that.
I would too.
I would love if
he's an EMT. He's saving lives on the daily.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we don't know what he does. I would love to get him on the pod and he just comes on and he's very articulate and he's like British and he's like, well, when I play this character. I watch the Nelk Boys videos and I try to channel what would happen if a young, impressionable man saw those videos and were influenced by the marketing.
Literally.
Right?
That'd be sick.
He's just very well spoken. Yeah, that would be really cool. He really is like the Daniel Day-Lewis of this generation. And this is just his first role. I don't know. Maybe we should try to get Adski777 on the pod.
Absolutely.
I think it'd probably be the biggest guest that we could get right now.
Do some outreach.
And maybe we should. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, maybe we should do some outreach. Maybe like me and him could shotgun, and then I'd beat him, and then he'd get like really offended. Because
see.
He dedicated his whole life to it, and I'm like, well, it's more of a hobby for me.
Right.
And I could still beat him at it, right?
I could see that happening for sure.
Yeah. So, all right, so we've already been going for almost an hour. We got a little bit of a time limit today. I got to go do some real-life stuff. So, Kathleen, I'm sorry that you prepared this great segment about social media exploitation.
No worries.
We'll do it next week, I promise. This isn't going to be like Lindsey Buckingham on What Up With That, where, like, he's about to do something, and then it's like, oh, we're out of time.
Oh my God, I love that segment. No, it's all good. When it fits, it fits. It's not like, it's not like relevant week to week. It's just a topic that, yeah. It's a topic that we could talk about anytime, whenever it fits. So no, I'm not offended. This was good content today.
Right. Yeah. So if you guys are out, like if we're thinking in terms of like high school like football recruiting, right? Like you're looking at players and you're like, oh, that guy, I think he's got a chance to make it to the big time. I think this guy, if we're looking at just pure shotgunning talent's not super there, but dedication to the brand, dedication to binge drinking, dedication to ruining your liver for 27,000 views. I mean, I think this could be like a 3-star, 4-star up and coming TikToker right here.
I think so too.
I could see a scenario where this guy, gets like a manager and like, goes on tour, right? Goes
absolutely.
to, the famous drinking cities of the U.S. and the world and goes and, shotguns Happy Dads and says, how you doing to your mother's dome piece and all that good stuff. I could really see that happening. And I really hope that maybe this appearance from him on this episode really puts him over the edge.
I hope so too.
I hope so. So that's all we got for you today. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to follow us on Instagram and TikTok, we are at The Leen Show. If you're listening on Spotify, thank you so much. Please consider giving us a 5-star review if you were a fan of this episode, or just a fan of Happy Dad, Full Send, Nelk, all that really cool stuff, right? All that stuff that is just really cool. It's just awesome. It's just so fucking cool. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And thank you to Glazed Eyes for letting us use their single Way Down off their released LP. Check them out on Spotify. They're a great Pensacola band. And I think that's it. Kathleen, any final thoughts?
No, that's it. Y'all have a great week.
Have a great week. Try to shotgun some monsters. Just shotgun a monster. See how it goes for you. Maybe it goes really well. That's our advice. That's our closing thought. Go to your local convenience store, buy a monster. And first off, go to fullsend.com, buy a shotgun.
Oh my god, yeah.
Wait for it to come to your house. And then once it comes in, break it in, go to your local convenience store, buy a monster, and shotgun it. And see how the rest of your day goes.
And then let us know.
Well, just so we know, we're not liable. We're not telling you to do it. Hypothetically, if you already had the desire to do it, then you should do it. But if you do not, then you should not do it.
Agreed.
If you have a heart condition, please don't send this fully, right? You should not ride this ride if you have a heart condition, right?
100%.
All right. Well, play us out, Glazed Eyes. Y'all have a great week.